Welcome to Watch It Real. We are the show of Real Central New Jersey Soccer. I'm Ira Jersey. I am the general manager for the men's team of Real Central New Jersey Soccer. And coming in with me right now is Harrison Taylor. He is our very first international signing. He has played in Australia as well as Spain for youth academies there, and now he is at St. Leo's University down in Florida. Harrison, thanks very much for coming on Watch It Real.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get to know you a little bit, and just we'll start at the beginning. So you were born in Australia, but you have a connection to the islands of New Zealand. So talk a little bit about kind of your background, and then we'll get into your playing career.
Yeah, so my dad's from New Zealand. He was born there in Wellington, in the capital. He played professional rugby. He played for New Zealand for rugby as well. And on my mum's side, my mum's from Ireland, so I got a bit of all cultures within me.
So talk to me just a little bit about your where you first fell in love with soccer and kind of knew that was going to be your sport. So your dad played, a rough and tumble sport, right? In rugby football. So how did you get involved with, association football, or soccer, as we call it here in the States?
Yeah, so I originally played Australian football when I was younger. Until 12, I made the transition. I went to a new school, and all my friends were playing soccer. So from then, I made the transition over to soccer. And I loved it. I started playing at a very high level in Australia, and from there I just progressed went through the youth academies, the age groups, and now I'm in America. I've been traveling all around the world since a young age, which has been really good.
So you were in Australia, and presumably while you were playing, you had some accolades like the Players Player Award and a number of other awards from your team. But at some point, you got on the radar of the New Zealand Federation for youth international play. Tell me about that experience. Like, you were sitting at home, or something happened. Like how did you find out? Who was the person who first told you, or called you, or emailed you to say, hey, would you be interested in this opportunity with the New Zealand national team?
Yeah, so I got an email from the head coach of the New Zealand under-20s team, Des Buckingham, and just as a simple email saying, he had my information, and he saw I was playing in the second division of Australia, and they sent over a paperwork just to see my eligibility, to see if I was eligible to play for New Zealand, because obviously I was born in Australia, but due to my dad's nationality, they tried to see if I was eligible. We went through all the documents, and they everything went through. And from there, I then got selected for a camp before the 2019 World Cup, which was really good.
And so what was that like, walking in the first time to this camp? I mean, presumably some of the other players knew each other, and, maybe, did you know anyone, or, do you guys have, you live in a different age, right? When I was 16, 17 years old, it was, we barely had computers. What was it like being in that camp for the first time? I mean, was it overwhelming? Was it, kind of everyone was nice and they acclimated you, or was it like, hey, you can't be here because this is going to be my position? Like, so talk about that experience the first time you were there.
No, it was crazy. I didn't know anyone there. Most of the boys were from New Zealand. Apart from, there was a few boys from they're playing in Canada. My roommate was playing in Canada for Vancouver Whitecaps, and those people playing in Europe and Asia. But a lot of the boys, the New Zealand boys, the boys that were playing in the professional, like Wellington Phoenix, they all stayed together. So it was kind of them boys, and then there's the international boys. But everyone was really welcoming. Like, we all made dinner with each other. We were all telling each other our stories and stuff. So there was a good chemistry between all the boys, which was really good. But when I first got there, it was just it was overwhelming, to be honest, with the whole setup. Just seeing all the boys, all these boys were playing at a very high level, professional, and that was something that I was reaching to. I was very close to, but that was something I was reaching to. So I kind of looked up to a lot of the boys.
Well, and you ended up then in Spain. Talk a little bit about how how you ended up at the Levante UD Academy. So a La Liga team, playing within their youth infrastructure, hoping to, move up obviously into the professional ranks. What was your path over there?
Yeah, so from there, I had footage online and everything, and people talking in Australia and about this new. I just got selected, for the camp in New Zealand, and then the agent reached out to me and said, I was interested in you. You look very good, so he offered me a trial in Levante in Spain, which I went over there for a month. Just after the January transfer window, everything went really well, and then from there, I got picked up and went through there for the rest of the season, which was really good.
Now, as we discovered, you then had an unfortunate experience. You were injured and couldn't play for a while, so that set you back. So you just had to make a tough decision, and talk a little bit about the decision for you to come to the United States to play collegiate football instead of looking for another opportunity at another academy in Europe or go back to Australia. That has to, you're so young and have to make these potentially life-changing decisions. And it's benefiting us as a club in New Jersey because you'll be coming to play for us. So for us, it's great, but that had to be a really difficult personal decision for you. And so what kind of supports did you use and how did you come to the ultimate decision to play at St. Leo's?
Yeah, so obviously after I finished up at Levante, I went back home to Australia, and one of the last games I ended up snapping my wrist, which required me to have surgery, and I was out for a long time, for 6 months. And during that time, I was speaking to a lot of clubs, academies, professional academies, and I was trying to get a professional contract. And everyone after that injury, everyone just said that they didn't want to. I was 17 years old, haven't really proven myself, and no one decided to take the chance on me or to give me a contract. So from there, I was looking at other opportunities, and in New Zealand, there was, like, when I was in the national team, there was a lot of people that were playing in the United States in the college system, and I started speaking to my parents about it all, and they really liked the idea. Obviously, in America, you can play at a very high level plus get an education. Now, when I was trying to go professional or like playing in academies in Europe, all you were doing was just playing. There was nothing else. You had no backup plan. And my parents decided, you can play soccer for 8 more years, and at the end of the day, you're not really going to have anything. You can't fall back on anything. You might have to go to uni when you're 30, or you just have to find a full-time job. Whereas coming to America, I can play at a high level, get a degree, and then if nothing works out, if I can't go anywhere with soccer, then I have a degree I can fall back on, and I can earn some good money.
And so how did you choose St. Leo's? Like, was it, you went around and said, hey, I want to go to a warm place. I don't want to, play in Vermont or something like that. Like, what was the path to St. Leo's?
Yeah. So, Florida, obviously Florida's perfect weather. I always wanted to go to Florida because of just the location near the beaches.
Hold on. You said perfect weather. You told me that it's March and it was 90 degrees there, which might be a little bit warm. I mean, for the likes of me who grew up in the Northeast, but
Nah, for me, I always love the warm weather. In Australia, we have warm weather as well. It's just I love being in it. For me, I feel motivated, and so for coming to St. Leo's, I was speaking to a coach I got really close with. He was the assistant coach at Missouri State at the time, and he sent me a message saying, "Hey, I moved to St. Leo. Are you interested in coming?" At that time, I built a really strong connection with him, and I decided to come to St. Leo because of him. I thought the connection was really good, and for me, being playing at these very high levels, I never really had a personal connection with a coach before. It was very professional, and that was it. So it was something new, and I thought it would be really good for me.
That's great. So we're getting a couple of questions here from the studio audience, and I'd like to. So if you do have a question, please place it in the chat of the live stream that you are, whether or not you're on Facebook or YouTube or Periscope on Twitter. Hit us up. We're more than happy to any appropriate question. I'm more than happy to ask Harrison to answer. So talk about the you mentioned a couple of times playing at a high level at university. university. And I know you don't have a lot of experience because COVID kind of messed things up, and you've only just started probably getting out on the pitch right now. Talk a little bit about the quality of play from where you were in Australia and then coming to Spain and now in the US. I mean, what's the level of play would you put it at? Like a lot better, a lot lower in Spain versus Australia? Talk a little bit about the, both from a physical, tactical, and as well as technical standpoint.
Yeah. So in Spain, when I was playing there, I was playing with my own age. So there was a lot of boys that were 17, 18 years old, so it was, at that time, it was very tactical and technical. And it was just, the quality was, it was amazing. A lot of these boys are now playing in second division, third division in Spain professionally. And now in Australia, I was playing with a lot of older boys. These boys were 23, 24, 25 and older. A lot of them had families, and it was just different. It was very physical football. And a lot of these boys had professional experience as well. We had a lot of imports from Argentina, from Italy. So it was really good. I had a dude last year that played in Serie A, that used to play in Serie A. He played for the Italy under-20 national team. So it's just that kind of caliber of boys. Now coming to America, these boys are, they're my age as well. They're 19, 20, 21. And these boys are played all around the world at a very high level. They're best youth academies in their country. So the quality in America is very high as well.
So let's go to where you play. So one of the questions that we have is, I'm going to show this here on the screen. I've not done this before, and I apologize for the little preamble that you saw earlier. So what other position did you play or start playing? When did you start playing as a center back? What other positions did you play? King Best is asking and wants to know. Yeah,
so I used to play striker, and then I made the transition to centre back when I was about 14, 15. And so when I played centre back, I used to sometimes play centre defensive mid. And then from when I was 16, when I started getting into the high levels, I stayed with the centre back's position.
So out of curiosity, would you put at center back just because you were tall? Because you are 6'7", is that about right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Correct. So was it just because you were tall? I find that happens a lot, right? It's like, we get into the, high school, 13, 14, 15, and it's like the tall kid has to be a center back. That might not be their best position necessarily. Paul Pogba is often the tallest guy in the field, and he's much better as an 8 or a 6, right? So you mentioned you play center defensive mid. So do you have a preference? Is there a position you enjoy playing the most?
Yeah,
not that we'll be able to play you there, mind you. That's up to coach. But yeah, but if you had to choose,
I always enjoyed playing striker, scoring the goals and everything. For me, it was fun. But performance-wise, centre back was always somewhere I played very, very good at. And if I wanted to go anywhere, it was going to be a centre back.
So let's go a little bit. So someone's asking, where from New Zealand are you from? And we covered that you're actually not. You actually grew up in Australia. You just your dad happens to be from New Zealand. What was it weird going there? Like when you went there for national team camps and stuff, like, you're representing your national team, and we have that in the United States all the time, right? There's guys who grew up in Germany, for example. We have a big German contingent because their parents were in the Air Force or the Army or something, and one of their parents and their other parent is German, and they play for the US, but that actually caused some friction sometimes within the locker room for the US men's national team. Do you think that happens in or can happen in New Zealand as well, or is it more cordial and friendly?
To be honest, it wasn't really. It was very friendly. There was a lot of people like in the national team that weren't actually from New Zealand. Like their parents were all born in New Zealand, and they just took that nationality. So there wasn't really any the chemistry was always good. There was no unfriendliness or anything, so which was good.
Apparently, you sound like a beast. That is, according to the Twitter and YouTube sphere here. Any last closing comments here from from me, what is your ultimate goal? I mean, obviously you've been on this path to try and become a professional, but I like to ask, like what do you hope to get out of playing in USL League Two, pre-professional team for the summer? Because it's possible you can get noticed and maybe picked up by a professional team, but more than likely you're going back to St. Leo's, at least for your sophomore year. And what do you hope to achieve this summer in between your collegiate season?
Yeah, for me, the main thing is just getting minutes. Obviously, I haven't played for a while, and just getting a consistent season, which is very important. But also, like, just meet some new boys. Obviously, I'm going to be in a new area I've never been in, and I'm going to be in a new culture. And it's just to develop as a person and be more independent as well, just to continue making new friends and everything.
And the Central Jersey culture is much different than the Florida culture, for sure. So I'm going to ask this last question from the audience. King Beast, again, is asking on Facebook, do you have any tips on how to adapt to a new position? So, you've played a couple of positions, obviously it was, a little while ago now, but 5 years ago or so, you switched from playing, up top to playing in the back or as a sixth defensive midfielder. What did you have to do in order to, I guess, increase your spatial awareness and transitioning to a different position like that?
Yeah, the main thing was just working on those specific areas. Like in midfield, you have to be very composed, very relaxed, and make sure your passing is very good and be very accurate. That's the main thing. So work on the areas. A centre back, also passing, defending, be very composed. If you're a fullback, you have to work on crossing, overlapping runs, your fitness. It's just those specific areas. Try strengthen.
Well, Harrison, that's great. I'm just going to do a little ad read here. We want to thank the Buxton Complex for sponsoring us. They do boxes, storage, U-Haul, backyard structures, quality furniture. It's all right here in Central New Jersey in Ewing. Go to thebuxtoncomplex.com for more from this family-owned business, and we hope you'll support them. I think I mentioned this last week, but our women's general manager actually redid his part of his backyard and stuff, and he went to Buxton's to get some of the equipment, and he loved the experience. So we really appreciate Buxton for sponsoring us. With that, Harrison, thank you very much for coming on Watch It Real tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to show this as we go out. Welcome Harrison Taylor to Central New Jersey, starting May 12th, by the way. Our schedule's out. We'll talk more about that next week.